In 2009, the Indian automotive giant Tata Motors took a revolutionary step when they introduced a unique addition to their fleet, the Tata Nano. This little car was long planned. Overwhelmed by the successful launch of the mini truck Tata Ace in 2005, the company saw a huge potential in this low budget passenger car, especially in a market that was dominated by affordable people carriers such as two-wheelers. This wasn't the first time Tata had done something unconventional. Back in 1991, they launched the ever popular Sierra, which was a three-door SUV. Apart from being the first ever SUV from an Indian brand, the Tata Sierra was something of an icon itself. Now imagine a market where everyone is looking for more seating capacity, more space, etc. etc. The Sierra offered technology such as electric windows and power steering. Its 5-seater and 3-door layout was way ahead of its time, as we now see. Coming back to the Nano, initially marketed as the 1 lakh rupee car or the cheapest car, got tremendous media attention. The opinions, comments, criticism from industry leaders and experts were harsh but on point. Many raised serious questions about the build quality and reliability of the vehicle. However, that didn't stop the company from launching the car on March 2009. This venture was close to Ratan Tata's heart.
The concept of the Nano happened while watching families riding on two-wheelers, usually the father riding the bike, a little kid sitting on the gas tank or standing on a scooter platform in front of him, his wife sitting side saddle, and maybe a child in between him and his wife. And if you then translate this image to that of a rainy night, you can see that that whole family is in considerable danger of sliding or being run over by people in the back. So I kept seeing this and I kept thinking this is unacceptable. So how can you make that two-wheeler safer? And so why don't we try to see whether we can get a car down in cost to somewhere in the vicinity between the cheapest car and the more expensive motorbike, to give a family of 4 or 5 an affordable transport through all kinds of weather. Not a motor scooter in a jacket, but a car.
In the bumpy start, thanks to the relocation of the manufacturing plant from West Bengal to Gujarat and some other production issues, the first batch of models was effectively delivered in the second half of 2009. Early customer response was mixed. While some said that the car made it possible for them to own a four-wheeler, others said that it was not as practical and as cheap to maintain like two-wheelers. Now, this comparison between Nano and two-wheelers is not something that the public came up with. Tata Motors pushed this comparison as the initial marketing strategy, coupled with the infamous cheapest car tag. These measures, however, didn't have any positive impact on the response Tata Nano received. With sale figures falling every month, it looked as if there was no certain bright future for this little rear-engine rear-wheel drive vehicle. Many say that the tagline cheapest car worked against the favor of Nano. According to an article by Flop2Hit, in India's market, cheap translates to low quality. After all, who wants a daily driver that looks cheap and is poorly built? To make things worse, issues with the build quality and incidents of the car catching fire started to make headlines. Not to mention the global NCAP results where the Tata Nano scored 0 stars. Tata worked towards fixing a huge majority of these issues and also claimed that the fire was caused by an external reason and had absolutely nothing to do with the design of the vehicle whatsoever. However, the damage to the reputation was done and it was irreversible. Or was it? In May 2015, to revive the model sales and to bring back Nano to life, Tata proposed a redesign both in and outside the car. The name was changed to GenX Nano to underline the changes. The range was offered in 21 different versions. The marketing this time around was better as well. The brand tried to connect to the younger generation with improved headroom, legroom and a lot more features. The car now made a lot more sense. And also compared to the previous years, Tata Nano's sales grew by 36%. However, it still faced serious competition from cars like the Suzuki Alto 800, Celerio and even the Hyundai Eon. It looked as if the company had got the formula right, but it was just too late, and the brand name Nano wasn't just enough to convince the buyers of this segment. Tata Motors, however, decided to continue the production of Nano. You see, Ratan Tata's promise of making a vehicle that anyone could buy was probably the reason why Nano was kept alive for a long time. But not forever. In February 2019, Tata Nano was finally discontinued. It would no longer be produced at the assembly line, however, it would be sold on a made to order basis. The long story slowly came to an end as the rules started to get more and more strict. Tata now had a couple of other cars in the hatchback category and their sales looked promising as well. Nano was a unique chapter in the history of Tata Motors. The production cost sum up to be higher than the initially promised 1 lakh, and in the first few years of production, Nano didn't make any money for the company. But as Ratan Tata said in an interview, "I had made a promise and we delivered on that promise." Over the years, the Nano legacy brought remarkable changes not only to the automotive industry but also to the lives of thousands of people for whom buying a car was just a dream.